Well, thank God it's Friday. I don't know why I say that, but thank God it's Friday. Let's start the weekend. And I've got plenty to do and plenty to get ready for today. Uh, a curious thing has been happening when I post my morning things here. Uh, I get a message that's from Facebook that says your video is partially muted due to a copyright match. Now, I take special care to not infringe on anybody's copyrights of anything. I quote mostly from my own works, which I have the copyrights to. I have no idea to what they are referring or how much is muted. And so I just want you to, if any of you have been watching my morning videos and all of a sudden there's a big blank space where I've been muted, let me know, because I've clicked on the various links on Facebook to see what the heck it is that somebody is objecting to, and I can't find anything. It says, do you want to challenge this? And I don't know what it is I would be challenging. It doesn't tell me what it is to challenge. So if any of you are experiencing portions of my morning talks being blanked out or muted, please drop me a note in the comment section here and tell me which video it was and the approximate time in that video where this blank is occurring. It says some of your audio was muted and it was applied in 72 territories. If that's any help to you. How many territories does Facebook have? And is this something particular countries or regions? Am I being muted, say, in Alabama or Saudi Arabia? Am I being help me out and try to let me know. Okay, because I think this goes all around the world, and I've got friends all around the world, and I certainly don't mean to be infringing on anybody's copyrights. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about this Scottish Rite book by Albert Pike called Morals and Dogma. And in doing so, I'm going to talk a little bit about not only Albert Pike, but well, actually, I'm not going to talk about Albert Pike very much at all. I am going to talk about Israel Regardie. And because a while back I had the privilege of being asked by the publisher, New Falcon Publications, to introduce their new edition, their 2019 edition of Garden of the Pomegranates. Now, I don't think that New Falcon Publications is going to be challenging my own introduction to their wonderful edition of this. But the Garden of Pomegranates is a very thin volume, but it's a wonderful, wonderful introduction to the Hermetic Kabbalah and its place in modern magic. And so I'm going to it's very short. I'm going to read it, and let's see if I get that message from Facebook at the end of this this thing here. Introduction. There's an epigram from the noted Kabbalist Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford. Kabbalah will never give us an aha, that's what that means moment. Kabbalah only serves to get the small wheels of consciousness turning smoothly until the big wheel of consciousness becomes transcendently self-evident. Unquote. I'm going to begin my words of introduction by sharing a little story from my own life. My father was a Freemason. He was raised to the sublime degree of Master Mason in 1948, the same year I was born, on July 11th. That same year, he joined the Scottish Rite and eventually received his 32nd degree and became a sublime prince of the royal secret. He was very proud of all 32 of his degree titles, which he often recited from memory. But he always dramatically deepened his voice when he pronounced the words, "Sublime Prince of the Royal Secret." What's the royal secret? Dad wouldn't tell me. His only answer was, I would discover it myself. I wouldn't exactly say my father was a mystic or a magician or a Kabbalist, but he was a free thinker and an insatiable reader. He collected and maintained a small but respectable Masonic library and always encouraged me to browse it and read anything and everything that interested me. One of his books was Morals and Dogma. Isn't that a spooky looking book? Let's see, can't we get it's hard to read the spine there. Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. And I found my clue to the royal secret. Strangely enough, it would also set the course of my own life. I confess that I was initially attracted to this large and heavy old Masonic book because of all the pictures and spooky symbols and mystic illustrations. Let me see if I can quickly find a spooky, well, it's not so spooky, but it's got those columns and pillars and things like that. Oh, there's one with a crazy looking one. Let's see. Ooh, spooky. Let's see. Oh, it's the higher ones where it really gets kind of fun. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh. Well, you're going to have to trust me. There's some cool, spooky illustrations. It's not an easy book to thumb through. Well, anyway. No, that was not one of those muted moments. I just was muted myself there. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay. I confess I was initially attracted to the spooky symbols and mystic illustrations. When I tried to actually read parts of the book, however, I knew I was way out of my grammar school depth. What I could understand was enough to open the door to the past, to a strange history of human thought, ancient gods and civilizations, exotic cultures and religions, bizarre mystery schools and magical practices. I also kept stumbling upon reference to something called Kabbalah, and it's spelled Kabbalah, and the works of the Hermetic philosophers. In fact, there were so many references to Kabbalah written in the text that they fill 2 full pages in the index, linked to 65 pages of reference to this mystical science. Now, hang on. Now I've set a bookmark here to this, just to show you. Almost, well, this huge section at the end is just the index. That's I really appreciate a big index in a book. But anyway, starting with K, all of that page is Kabbalah. All of that page is Kabbalah. When it stops being Kabbalah, it starts to be Kether, a Kabbalistic thing. There's tons of Kabbalah shit in this book. No disrespect, I'm sorry, Kabbalah material. Let's see if that gets muted. Okay. One reference in particular would ignite my quest for the royal secret and eventually set the trajectory of my entire life's work. Here's the quote from Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. He who desires to attain the understanding of the grand word, this is the grand secret word of a Mason, yeah. He who desires to attain the understanding of the grand word and the possession of the great secret ought carefully to read the Hermetic philosophers and must take, for the key of their allegories, the single dogma of Hermes contained in his emerald tablet, and follow the order indicated in the Kabbalistic alphabet of tarot. My entire adult life has been an exploration of the great works of the Hermetic philosophers, the Kabbalah, and tarot. Ironically, within Masonry itself, there is little official literature dealing directly with the esoteric or magical aspects of Kabbalah or tarot. That's starting to change. With the exception of the sublime hints scattered within the degree ceremonies of the Scottish Rite and his book Morals and Dogma by Brother Pike. Brother Pike pretty much leaves everyone to their own self-education. I'm sad to report that very few Masons today share my passions. An increasing number do every day, though. Part of my self-education began with the works of Israel Regardie, and his Garden of Pomegranates is one of the finest introductions to the study of modern Hermetic Kabbalah I can recommend. 40 years ago, I visited Regardie at his home in Studio City just a few months after I read it. I was Regardie starstruck, and my brain was saturated with his writings, having recently digested his Tree of Life and his 4-volume set at the time of the Golden Dawn, The Middle Pillar, and my Rosicrucian Adventure. We shared champagne cocktails and soon discovered that as young men we had both been members of the Order of Demolay, a boys' Masonic body. We giggled as we awkwardly exchanged the secret step, grip, and sign of a Demolay initiate. It was a wonderful icebreaker. Naturally, I wanted to talk to Regardie about his experiences with Aleister Crowley, as being Aleister Crowley's secretary in the 1920s. And I had to ask the obligatory questions about goat sacrifices and baby eating. I also attempted a few neophyte questions about Kabbalah. However, what impressed me the most about this man was simply his personality and his character. He was charming, but not affected. Knowledgeable, but not arrogant in his mastery of the subject. Witty, but not cynical or sarcastic. Never before had I met anyone who seemed so comfortable in their own skin. If this is what self-mastery looks like, if this is what happens to a person after a life of magical study and practice, I thought, that's what I want. Kabbalah isn't a religion or a belief system, but a process of systematically waking up to self-realization by actually tricking our consciousness into expanding. It does this by reorganizing our perception of absolutely everything we observe and every thought we think. Kabbalistic thought allows us to expand our consciousness to be a more accurate reflection of the supreme singularity of consciousness. Call it God, or call it the great architect of the universe, or just the big whatever it is. As above, so below. The oldest textbook of Kabbalah is the Sefer Yetzirah, or the Book of Creation, or more accurately, the Book of Formation. Nobody really knows who originally wrote it or when, but it predates all other works of its kind. It starts right out by telling us, Yah, the Lord of hosts, formed and created the universe in 32 mysterious paths that consist of a decade out of nothing and 22 fundamental letters. Unquote. The decade out of nothing is described as a tree of life, 10 fundamental emanations from which number 1, Godhead, somehow emanated out of a pre-existent nothingness. To our everyday consciousness, this process may look like creation, but from the point of view of Godhead, it's like being knocked on the head and drugged and falling asleep and experiencing a 10-level series of deeper and deeper hallucinatory dreams. Number 1 is the ultimate wake-up reality. That's who we really are. 2 and 3 are all numbers in the tree of, and all the other numbers in the tree of life represent a progressive descent of consciousness. It's a cosmic Russian doll of consciousness. Godhead, dreaming dreams within 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 dreams. Until finally, at number 10, we come to your sleepy head. As above, so below. Kabbalistic studies and exercises and meditations help us identify, dissect, and understand each level of the Supreme Consciousness so that we may systematically awaken from each level of the Great Dream. The 22 letters connect the tree's 10 emanations, and like 22 little electrical transformers, each path serves to step up or step down the consciousness frequencies or levels of awakeness of the emanations they connect. These 22 paths are the letters of the Hebrew alphabet and the Kabbalistic alphabet of tarot, that Brother Pike is referring to. Kabbalists strive to connect everything in the universe with everything else in the universe. We train ourselves by viewing every thought, every concept, every object as a reflection of every other object, thought, concept. Kabbalists continue with this perpetual background meditation until the infinite unity of all existence becomes profoundly self-evident. The Kabbalist consciousness is finally realized as a perfect reflection of the divine supreme consciousness. As above, so below. And those are my introductory words for the 2019 edition of Israel Regardie's Garden of Pomegranates, and a little peek at my edition of Morals and Dogma, which incidentally for many years was given to each newly initiated member of the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite. It probably is still in many jurisdictions, but when I received my 32nd degree, I was given a wonderful other book called Bridge to Light. I think it's an excellent book, but it's a commentary on Morals and Dogma. So anyway, that's it for today. I have to prepare for tonight's third degree initiation for my Chinese students. It'll take me all day sort of to pull my act together. It'll never get pulled together, but I'll do it anyway. But until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. And please let me know if any portions of this get muted, and drop me a note and let me know what the time sequence was where that mutation occurred. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.